So it's been a amazing run for the first season. This is episode 10. And I thought to myself, like, I'm building this Avenger squad of these wonderful lawyers who I call my friends. And today I have the pleasure of introducing you to Raees Mohamed, which most of you probably already know, the beard lawyer. Raees,
What's going on?
how
How are you? It's good to be here.
and dude, thank you for flying out here. I know
Yeah,
your time is very valuable. You're
absolutely.
very expensive. So
100%. I wasn't going to miss it. Yeah.
So, first of all, I want to say thank you for believing in our whole mission in the Dirty Army and the foundation. And, I know you're from Scottsdale, so you know the origin story of my back in the day.
I know the origin. It's actually a really important story we should talk about too, because most people don't know that you single-handedly are responsible for a lot of the law that we use to defend publishers. So way before Instagram,
Yeah.
2014, you funded and you defended this case, and I'll call it cheerleader case, right? Can you talk about,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you got sued for running the dirty.com, and the trial court got it wrong,
Yeah.
and you appealed it, went to the Sixth Circuit, and you created law that supports all these mofos who are creating internet content today, which I think is epic, dude. That's honestly, that's amazing to sit back and say, you know what? Nick is not just talking the game. He was the game.
Yeah.
You were actually the guy doing it. And anyone who's a content creator has this guy to thank right now
Sure.
for all the stuff that you did.
It's crazy that you say that
Yeah.
because sometimes I don't appreciate, like,
It's true.
I laid on the sword for everyone.
Yeah, you did.
And now we have influencers and Instagram and we have the whole world.
And now people appreciate that, hey, so and so's just telling a story. Why are you going after them? But they didn't at the time. You were telling the stories
Yeah.
or making comments. I mean, you weren't the sort of mouthpiece. You're just giving a platform to people. Now there's multi-billion-dollar platforms:
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I mean, this is well before the Instagram didn't exist. Correct me if I'm wrong. 2014. I don't think it
No,
existed.
no.
Um,
No, a lot of these platforms didn't exist, but I do remember when I was going through all that, Facebook came to my aid, TripAdvisor, Amazon, Bezos, like they all came to my aid because they're like, hey, if I go down,
that's right.
the internet goes
They
down.
saw the vision.
Yeah, they were like, dude, this guy is about to kill every single website if he loses.
That's right.
So all the lawyers came in. I had what I thought at the time were Avengers, right? Like Avengers actually weren't even a thing back then, but in my mind, I had the dream team.
Yeah.
So, and they just came in with money and power, and they went to every single free speech advocacy group, and I got amicus briefs from the world pretty much because I was trying to save the internet.
And it was at a time where it was just so underappreciated. And again, number one call I get is somebody's trying to make me shut up, right? That's still today, how many years later? And I remember the days when people would call us like, I've been published on thedirty.com and I need to, and I'm like, we could try. we could give it a shot,
It's pretty harsh back then.
Yeah.
But is it funny when you see opposing counsel or you're reading through, MSJs of like, and you see me being name dropped in the filings? Do you ever?
No, literally, no. I've seen it. I've seen your name referenced. I've seen the case referenced, and again, I think people don't really appreciate what it takes to actually have a trial court or a jury rule against you,
Yeah.
and have the power and mental fortitude to say, you know what, we know as a matter of law this is wrong. Like, this is not what the First Amendment stands for. This is not the standard.
Yeah.
Contest it, get a big win, and send it right back down. I mean, it takes a lot. I mean, you didn't accept defeat, which is a big deal.
It was a 4 to 5 year just
It's insane.
battle.
That's insane.
Battle. It cost $5 million, I think, something like that. So it was not. But back then, I was younger. I wasn't in it for the money. I was literally like, hey, everyone kept telling me, even the news, they're like, this guy is like the Larry Flint of the internet. Like,
Yeah.
we don't know if this is legal or not, but we're about to find out.
And it's still a question that I get asked today. It's like, hey, can I be sued for talking about this or giving air, to some story that somebody else told me? And you live that, which,
Yeah.
and the answer is you could probably get a free pass if you're if you're the one just telling the story. You're giving a platform to other people's stories. And that's what content creation is now. Now that's a multi-billion-dollar market, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable.
Which makes me even more happy that everyone became billionaires.
Yeah. You got a couple B's, right?
It's
You
just
stashed.
so crazy.
Yeah.
But going off that, there's so much I want to ask you, and today is going to be more educational, I think, not only for me, but also I think for a lot of people watching or listening. The liability of a person making a comment on a third party platform anonymously, are they actually anonymous? Like,
Yeah.
how, because I'm sure people have sent stuff to you saying, like, hey, this person said something about me on YouTube that's not true. How do I, but it's some weird username.
Yeah.
Is that person, do they have immunity? Like, are they possible to track? Can you share on that?
Yeah. What people don't understand is anonymity is not a wall on the internet. It's really a curtain. It's really a curtain. And I pull the curtain back on people all the time. And it's a question of resource, time, and intensity. And if you have to have the right facts, right? I mean, it has to be defamatory, and there's First Amendment protections on it, because you do have a right to be anonymous online. That's actually an important fabric of our Constitution and of our First Amendment, which is, look, if I'm sharing information, factual information, or editorializing information, it's opinion speech or rhetoric or hyperbole, I get to hide behind a cloak. We actually, in America, we value that. That's the first right. That's our number one amendment, right? The First Amendment is free speech is part of that. And having the ability to be anonymous and away from people who are going to criticize the individual or attack the individual, that's basic fabric of being American, right? So you have to have good facts to be able to pull the curtain back. It's not impossible. And so many people I hear, well, good luck, they're never going to find out who I am and this. And I'm like, well, we could prove you wrong.
Yeah.
And
can you explain that process?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the typical fact pattern that I get, most popular is usually TikTok and Instagram, but also YouTube. So gal calls up and says, hey, you know what? Somebody's publishing information about me, calling me an escort or a prostitute. And it's, Raees, it's humiliating. I work in banking, and people are starting to believe it.
Yeah.
Like, first, only 10 people saw this and I didn't really care. And maybe my grandma saw it and I didn't really care. Now it's got 100 views, 1,000 views. Now it's 15,000 views. They've got my real information, my real picture. They know that I work at this Chase Bank branch in this cross street. I can't live life like this. Like, it's a nightmare. I'm like, I can't even show my face in public anymore. So I get these fact patterns, and I say, okay, well, let's sit down and take a look at it. First, let's pass the first hurdle. Is it true or not? You can't keep skeletons and then come to me. You have to tell me, and it's confidential, obviously. But,
yeah.
But
if they tell you it's true, do you still take it on?
No, I mean, what we do is we have to look at other options, right? We can't sue somebody for defamation if what's being said is truthful. Yeah. So the first question is usually, is it truthful or not? If it's truthful, there may be other options. How do we deal with the reputation fallout? Can we put other content out? Can you speak to a publicist or a PR person? Can you correct the record? Should you get ahead of it? Should you get in front of this and say, yeah, I did this. I learned from it. I've moved on. It was a past life. And each one of those options carries a different risk, a different cost. Some of it I couldn't even help with. But, once we pass the hurdle of, is this truthful or not? And, again, changing the facts, but a common scenario. This is the accusation, Raees. I think I know who it is, but I don't know. And this account sometimes shuts down and comes back, and now it's on TikTok. So I say, okay, first step, are you willing to file a lawsuit and tell your story a little bit? Like, can we make this public? There's only so many ways we can control what gets into the public's eyes, right? I mean, once you file a lawsuit, for the most part, it's public.
Yeah.
Especially, in jurisdictions in the Ninth Circuit, like where we are, courts tend to want the public to have access to these things. So if she says yes, we file the lawsuit. We file what's called a Jane Doe or John Doe lawsuit. It'll be the plaintiff's name, suing a John Doe or Jane Doe or black companies. Usually we name a few anonymous entities. And we make sure we've got our facts straight, right? Verifying facts is a hard thing when the truth matters out of the gate, right? It's not a breach of contract case where they're subject to interpretation. We got to know, did this happen or not? And only you know, or maybe the lawyers don't know. We have to dig and get to the truth. So assuming we've done that, we've scrubbed it. Let's look at the statements that are being made. Is it first of all, this anonymous page that's talking about you, is it rhetorical? Is it hyperbole? Is it on thedirty.com? Like, is it a site like that where people aren't reading it and saying necessarily this is 100% factually true and we're going to rely on it? Is it like SNL? Everybody knows when you watch SNL, when you watch a skit on SNL, you don't watch it to get news.
Yeah.
It's a lot of rhetoric and hyperbole and political speech, right? So context matters. And so if this is a page where the theme is just, they dump on people and it's known for that, like remember The Onion, right?
Yeah.
That website, then, or Babylon Bee and all, is it a meme or is it being published to tell the facts? That's what we want to know. Yeah. And assuming it's purporting to tell facts, now we have a problem, and an allegation like that's defamation per se. So we scrub it, we file the lawsuit, even at the start of the lawsuit, even though we don't have a defendant, we have to make sure that the lawsuit is as tight as possible, because we know as practitioners in the space, the judge is going to look at that and say, before I give you any discovery, before I give you the right to do anything, issue a subpoena, we need to make sure this is not protected speech. Like, this is not constitutionally protected. And that's not an easy answer. People think you just file a lawsuit, issue a subpoena. It doesn't work like that. That's an abuse of the system. So we passed the first hurdle. We filed the lawsuit. We believe we have constitutional support for our position. We asked the court to give us permission to issue discovery, in this case, a subpoena, and we sent a subpoena to the platform. And let's stick with our hypothetical. It's Instagram. So Instagram is Meta. So we serve a subpoena in the Palo Alto office, wherever it usually goes. And usually outside counsel for Meta gets us a fat objection letter with 10 different things that they don't like about your subpoena. And look, we deal with outside counsel for Meta all the time. They're just doing their job, right? They have to protect their client just as much as we protect ours. But the point is, expect it. It's not an easy road. They don't want to give you information. To them, like it's a civil dispute. They believe in the privacy laws. They like anonymity. So show us a prima facie case. Show us why you deserve this. After some back and forth, some angry phone calls and some emails, we might get to a point where they're like, okay, we'll give this to you so long as the owner of that account doesn't object. So they give notice. So that's what a lot of people don't understand. When you file a lawsuit and you issue a subpoena, the platform has an obligation to notify the owner of that account. So if it's her ex, who she suspected it was, the ex is going to get an email or a text saying, this guy, Raees Mohamed's filed a lawsuit against you. Here's a case number. You can contact him. But if you don't in 21 days, we might produce your information. And many times these people don't respond. And they're kind of like, maybe the inbox is not checked or they don't care. And we'll get some basic information. Sometimes, I had this happen today, we'll get a response from an individual that says, hey, I'm going to object to this. And it's my constitutional right. And you might think, well, the cat's out of the bag, but we may not be able to use the information, right? So how many people are thinking about this, right? I mean, this is stuff we live and breathe every day in my practice.
Yeah.
But the point is, we'll then figure out, is this, if the platform produces, if Meta produces, and usually they do if we have a good case, we'll get an email address. We'll get a 2FA verified cell phone number.
Wow.
We'll get the IP address of the date the account was registered. We'll typically ask for and get a log. It's usually, 8 to 10 logins and the date and time, GMT, and the IP address of those logins. That's a pretty good fingerprint.
That is.
That's a pretty good fingerprint. Now, some people think, well, what if I use a burner phone? What if I use a Proton email? And you could do that. But the third thing that's hard to really spoof is the IP. Now, okay, well, what about, if I use the IP masking tool? Okay, yeah, maybe. Generally, my experience is people screw up. Sometimes they've logged in and they forgot to turn the VPN on, or they're lazy and they're like, well, I just have my phone. I don't have a burner phone, so I'll just verify it with this phone. And even if it's something we don't on its face from the information we get understand, we can do another layer of subpoenas, right? So in this particular instance, we get the information, it's a cell phone, and I call up my client, hey, Amanda, it's a fake Amanda. I don't know why I picked Amanda, but I just did. Amanda, put this number into your phone. Tell me if it populates. And Amanda's typing and she's like, holy shit, this is my best friend.
Yeah. Who literally probably just had drinks with her like an hour
Who just
ago.
had drinks with her an hour ago, who's sleeping with her ex, who believes Amanda's the worst person in the world. And this is Amanda's floored.
Yeah.
And Amanda's losing her mind. And Raees, what do I do? She needs therapy now. And she just wants to tear the world, like burn the world down.
It's crazy that, and you probably get it a lot, like the people that they think it is, it usually isn't. And it's the person closest to them that they are best friends with, or is like their shoulder to cry on, is the actual person.
It can be. You know, I don't know if I have enough data to say it usually is, or most of the time it is. But many of times it does turn out to be who they have a hunch it is. You know, they have a hunch, but sometimes it's not.
That's crazy.
And that's the gut-wrenching part of it is now you know.
Yeah.
And what else does that person know? And the client starts thinking, this person knows so much about me. They know everything about me.
Yeah.
So we get the information. Now it's the client's decision. Like, hey, what do you want to do? Do you want me to send a letter to this person saying, before we rain hell on you, do you want to take this down? What do you want to do? And some clients are satisfied and they say, let's just send a demand. Let's see if we can clean it up. And it ends. We send a demand letter in case it disappears, blah, blah, blah. Some of them like, absolutely not. Like, I want a pound of flesh. I want my damages. Like, I'm pissed. This cost me, my reputation, my job, a relationship. Like, this is not right. And so we buckle up and do what we have to do. But this is a common fact pattern, unfortunately.
It just sounds so expensive.
So it's not inexpensive. Because we do a lot of this stuff, we try to price it in a way that's palatable. Like, you're not going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to figure out who's behind an account, usually. You may spend a lot if you want to just completely, go nuclear in litigation once we get to that point. But, it might cost, you probably do this, depending on jurisdiction and how complicated your facts are, within 10 grand.
Oh, that's not bad.
On a case that's not very complicated. So, and again, 10 grand's a lot. For some people, it's a lot, but it's palatable.
Yeah.
It's palatable. It's something you could do if you had a job and you could pay down. So the point is, there are options. And that's why I say anonymity is not a wall. It is a curtain. It's a question of resources and intensity. But dude, the flip side's also good. I mean, sometimes you need a message, like your platform. You need to send a message without the consequence of you personally being pinned to it. That's equally as important to me, right? That's part of our Constitution, because the truth has to come out. Lessons have to be learned, and you may not want to be attacked and like, don't kill the messenger. Well, they will kill the messenger. They'll actually chop the messenger's head off, put it on a stake, and send it to your mother and saying, this is what we're going to do to the messenger.
This is why I have you on my team, because it's full CSI, like FBI, like this is full investigation tactics.
Yeah.
Find out who this person is and annihilate, so I think, for me, it's like, I've always been on the other side of it, and now fighting these monsters, as I call them, and seeing they're doing this. They're hiding behind a curtain and they're attacking from all different angles, pretending to be bots or just whatever. Right.
Yeah.
And they're so delusional and that thinking that they're always right, but there's no one that's real that's coming to support them.
Yeah.
So,
what's interesting is it takes a certain type of personality to persistently harass someone. And it's usually that, narcissistic type of personality. These are the people that they commit a murder and they come back to the scene to kind of see like the lay of the land, to see if the FBI is dusting the right fingerprints in the right spot. That personality will always run into trouble. So maybe we don't catch it the first time. Maybe we don't catch it the second time, but there's after a pattern. And you see this, right, from the stories that you're told. Some of these women have been abused, right? And over time, like you see the pattern. And people who are these online bullies, online criminals, even some of them, they wear the mask of anonymity, but there's a pattern. You can almost predict what they're going to do. And for them, sometimes when they're caught, they play the role of, yeah, I wanted to be caught. Haha. I set that trap for you. Now what are you going to do about it? And sometimes they'll continue to deny it.
Yeah.
Like, you got the wrong guy.
It's crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So when you were coming on the show, you posted, you were like, hey, if you have any questions, if I do a podcast with Nick, what were the questions did you get anything cool?
I did. Yeah. There were a few people asking about protect women from people like PP. That was a popular one.
PP?
Yeah. Lucia was another name specifically mentioned.
Yeah.
Also, that was another popular one. And also people just want to know, like, what do they do to protect themselves, and what do they do when they're in these relationships, abusive relationships or former relationships, right? And how do content creators protect themselves and tell their stories? Like, these are common themes that we hear and people are asking about.
And then can you explain, this is just a personal question that can you explain how money laundering works?
Yeah. Let's get right into it. Look, I'm not an expert in money laundering, but I mean, I know a thing or two. It's interesting about it is, so sometimes before we even talk about what money laundering is, on the civil side, there's something called civil RICO, right? And states have racketeering statutes, and there's also a federal racketeering statute. And sometimes, again, when you deal with e-commerce and you deal with investors, a common accusation that my clients will make is that this is a pattern of conduct that we're seeing. And there's usually a predicate act. It could be theft. It could be embezzlement. It could be defamation. There's a predicate act, and there's a pattern of activity. And it's pretty easy to trigger RICO liability. So the reason I bring that up is because RICO goes hand in hand with money laundering. And so what is money laundering? Well, contrary to what most people think, hiding money is easy. It's creating a narrative about why you have that money and making it believable. This is the hard part.
Okay.
All right. So remember that. Anybody can hide money in a suitcase, in the walls in your house, in a mattress. It's not hiding money. But if suddenly I'm buying properties and cars and flashy lifestyle, what's my narrative of how I got that wealth?
Yes.
People can search if I'm the son of some, heir. Like, am I heir to a billionaire hotel mogul or something? People are sensitive to that now. Like, they generally have an idea of how people live, and all of a sudden they're stepping, like, where did this person come from? How did they get the money?
Yeah.
What's my narrative? And that's where the laundering comes in, and that's where a lot of people get caught. So laundering money in the cleanest, simplest way is taking money that is usually ill-gotten gains, or is black money, dark money, illegal money, sourced from something. We can use cartels as an example, and turning that money into legal currency by putting it back in the system, washing it, and then taking it out and purchasing something with it legally, so that people can actually clean the money and create a sort of facade of using capital that originated perhaps in some meaningful way or some legal way. So some of the top, if you just search money laundering cases, involve banks, like U.S. banks, or Wachovia, for example, has laundered hundreds of millions of dollars for cartels, okay?
Crazy.
And when they get caught, they pay a small transaction fee. And I can't remember if it was Wachovia or HSBC. One of these guys got away with murder. I want to say it was Wachovia. They laundered like close to $1 billion for the Mexican. It was 350 billion with a B.
It's wild.
They facilitated laundering, okay? The U.S. government gave them a slap on the wrist and said, pay us $150 or $160 million fine.
Mm-hmm.
To do the math on that, if you've ever run a business, that is a tenth. I mean, that's significantly less than the average credit card processing cost.
Yeah.
So basically, they paid the U.S. a processing fee to process that money as a sanction.
So if you're getting money from someone else and you're taking it in, and then you're pretending that person is purchasing something from you, I'm trying to like play this out in my mind.
Right. So a common thing might be issuing an invoice for services
Okay.
or products or shipping watermelons. Okay. And so your buddy owns a farm and he's probably is sending you some watermelons and some
But then you're
pumpkins.
sending the money back.
So first you got to get the money. And so what's the exchange? What am I giving you? And why are you giving me cash? Let's answer that question first. Okay. So I give you a product or a service and you pay for it. Perhaps it's a market rate, maybe it's above market rate. But you are giving me, and the origin of that, let's just assume is illegal money. And look, it could be legal money, but then you're trying to hide it from the IRS or something. But you're doing something with that cash that's nefarious. That's the whole reason you're doing this in the first place. So I'm trying to now get the cash from you. You're like, Raees, I'm trying to launder this money. So the gangster says, well, look, I know a guy who's got a farm. So why don't you purchase, 2 tons of watermelons? Some of them are going to be bad, and I'll just send them to you. And you purchase it at X dollars per ton or per kilo, as it were. And you're now going to wire this money. There's a transaction. It's on paper. Money hits my account. Now, Bank Secrecy Act is triggered anytime you make a deposit, anytime you make a withdrawal too. And that's why when you make structured deposits and withdrawals, like the whole $10,000, when you withdraw it less, you trigger anti-money laundering rules.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. If you go to the bank and you draw $9,900, if a banker doesn't look at you weird, they're not doing their job.
Wow.
So structured withdrawals and structured deposits are the number one sort of red flag with this. But the guys, these professional money launderers, a lot of these e-commerce guys, the crypto, they know what they're doing. They know this stuff. That's low level. So they do a transaction, whatever it is. You send me, Raees, send me a service or a product invoice. I'm going to send you the money. Now, give me a game plan of what we do. Now, we're not talking 10, 20, 30,000. We're talking about 6, 7 figures or more at once.
Yeah.
What do you do with money like that? Real estate. How do you invest a large wad of cash without it looking weird? Well, you can pull money from investors. You can buy real estate. You can buy crypto. You can buy anything. You could buy a car dealership. You could buy a car wash, right? And that's what these guys do. So now I've got the money. I invest it or I purchase something. Outwardly, I'm not living the lifestyle yet. I'm engaging in a transaction. And now I'm going to give myself this business name, right? So I'm a real estate tycoon. I'm an investor. I'm a developer. And look, there's machines on the ground. There's people moving. There's hammers being swung on the construction site. Money's moving through it.
Yeah.
I'm pumping money into it.
Even though it's not real, it's a facade.
It's a facade, right? And I'm giving you maybe a more complicated facade. But then when that project sells, whether it's at a loss or not, I don't care because the money has entered the system. It's entered the economy by virtue of me depositing it and then writing checks against it. So how do you get your money back?
Yeah.
Right? The idiots who get busted are the ones that deposit and take it out right away. The guys who create the facade are the ones who create a business and now move products or sell, take that money and start moving it back and giving it back. So is there money at risk? There might be, right? There might be. But there's a tangible asset, there's currency, there's cash flow, and that's all you care about. And that's what I've seen. Now, a lot of these e-com junkies, they play in the crypto space, right? Yeah. Crypto is transparent, man. Crypto is not something you do to hide money. It's it's by virtue of what it is, it's on a ledger, it's on a public ledger. So you can identify who's engaging in the transactions. In fact, Polymarket, you were playing around. Yep. People watch a lot of these crypto bets and they look at where that ledger address is and they can kind of glean who might be behind some of these wagers that look like they're backdoor deals or trading on inside information, so to speak. But the point is, the crypto stuff is completely different. I think the real money laundering that's happening today. It's on e-commerce platforms and retail and real estate.
Yeah.
I think that's where it's happening. That's where you can move a large amount of money and invest a large amount of money and claim to be highly successful But who's checking that? Nobody has if you're a private company, no one has access to your bank. The bank knows. The IRS might know. Yeah, it's pretty weird. It's pretty weird.
Yeah. I'm thinking of certain people,
Yeah.
but
I mean, look, particularly in the luxury markets, right?
yeah.
Like if you are laundering money, and again, I think of the cartels are the experts, dude. Just the top 5 or 10 busts are with major, like publicly traded banks,
Yeah, that's cruel.
and it's cartels moving the money. It's not Uncle Joe.
Yeah.
And the cartels have a problem. The cartels' problem is they have a market, but how do they make use of the money once they land it? They have to wash it some way, right? And sometimes they've gotten away with it time and time again. They seem to be the experts.
So does your firm, like, do you guys ever like go after? Because listen, I've seen you on Baller Buster and some of these like high profile, like calling out some of these scam artists and exposing them.
Yeah.
Does your firm like go after these people from like I don't know, not a class action, but like, are there like these life coaches, or like, do people come to you and say like, hey, we want to sue this person or we want to expose them?
Roaches, man. I swear to God, the online coach world is like a roach motel. It should be online roaches. That's what that should be the moniker.
Roaches.
Somebody make a shirt, right?
I like that.
This is online roach. No, look. Let me. I have a lot to say on this topic. Okay, so buckle up.
Let's talk about it, because there's part of me that like I want to believe it,
yeah.
but then there's like this world built by Cardone, like it's almost like fake it till you make it. But did you really make it? It's almost like the biggest pyramid scheme I've ever seen in my life, and it's like right in front of us, and it's so obvious and it's so blatant. But then I sit back and I'm like, who the hell? Like, why would anyone pay some random person?
Look, I'll tell you why. If you can monetize being on stage, being in front of a camera, and the monetization source is people who just believe in your message and they're willing to pay a ticket for it, then what's the difference between Dave Chappelle and an online coach? Well, the difference is Dave Chappelle delivers comedy.
Yeah.
He actually delivers something.
Yeah.
The coaches don't.
Even though they say they are?
The bad ones.
Okay.
Okay. Let me juxtaposition this a little bit. So one of my all-time favorite coaches, legend, Tim Grover. Shout out to Tim Grover.
Okay.
The guy coached Michael Jordan. The guy coached the late Kobe Bryant. He's coached Dwayne Wade. He's a legit coach. He went from physically training Michael Jordan, teaching him how to put on 15 pounds of muscle, to go hard in the paint, to then becoming a mental coach. Like, this is a guy who was in the trenches, who built his reputation doing something first. And then, now he can get paid to speak because he's legitimate, right?
Yeah.
You could learn a thing too. We could all learn a thing or two about preparing for the game from him, preparing for life. He has the qualifications. He has the credentials. If somebody were to pay $1 million to Tim to say, hey, I'm an NBA player, I'm an athlete, or I'm a CEO, I have a $100 million contract, or I have a $100 million top line revenue company. I'm going to pay you $1 million, Tim, to make me the strongest guy physically, mentally, and be able to handle this. That's money well spent. Why? Because he's a guy who has a track record. Like, look at what he's done. He knows a thing or two. Then you go to these no-name people who are standing in front of, maybe it's a Lamborghini Revuelto, and on a yacht in Dubai, okay, iced out watch.
Yeah.
And super hot girlfriend in a convertible, Miami mansion. And now your reaction, the human in you says, and look, they are leeching on something that is in our DNA, which is people like to be surrounded by success. It's just a fact. I don't care who you are. You want to be surrounded by, you want to be a part of success, somebody's success story, or build your own success. And lifestyle indicates success to some degree. Now, we all know wealthy people who you wouldn't know are super wealthy, but they latch onto the human desire to want to be associated with wealth and success. And they do that by flaunting a lifestyle that mostly is false. It's a farce. They know, they've done the math. They know that if they rent this boat and this house and these clothes and buy it and then return it back to Nordstrom's, and they just put on that look for like a month or two, and they spend the money on ads to deliver a message, that people will pay to hear them speak. Or people will pay to hear them fill in the blank. And delivery is usually not substantive. There's very little there. I have a list of people who've called me and said, this is bullshit. And I was duped, Raees. How do I get my money back?
And how much do they spend?
I mean,
like 5 to 10,000?
Dude, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30,000. People going to these camps, jumping in mud, beating their chests. You need a therapist, bro.
Dude,
You don't,
so
come on.
good.
Save $5,000. Go to a therapist. Iron out your childhood problems. Spending money on therapy is money well spent, okay? Nobody should feel shy about that. Don't spend it on some online coach, some guy or gal who's going to sell you. Now, again, Raees, well, how do they afford this, Rolls-Royce Cullinan? And they know that works, okay? They know that. And many of them, again, have not substantively delivered anything. They haven't helped anyone. The only thing they've ever helped is themselves. They've sold tickets to an event. Big deal.
Yeah.
Deliver on something. So it's rampant, dude. It's so rampant. And again, I want to now
juxtaposition. Is it fraud? Like
I don't know what else to. Some of it is I'll qualify fraud for the layperson, right? I mean, fraud. When we say fraud, what we're saying is you knew the guy who's selling me the services that you couldn't deliver on this.
Yeah.
You duped me anyways. You induced me into paying you into the scheme. That's different than saying, you know what, can we deliver it a month late? Or it's not as good as I thought upon delivery. That's not fraud. That could be more breach of contract, right? That's still a reputational issue.
Yeah.
But the fraud is rampant. I mean, it's absolutely insane. People are Now, here's something else. It's subjective. If you go to a seminar, you paid $10,000 to sit in the front seat and take pictures with me afterwards, do a bro tap, get a signature on a hat. Was that money well spent or not? That's your subjective opinion. Yeah. Some people say this is horseshit. I'd rather spend the 10 grand and go to Dubai or go to Maui. And other people say, oh, no, I was in this room with all these high-level people and I got my picture taken and look, I'm tagged on Instagram. And that's why I say, what are you signing up for? What's the substance?
It's weird because I see Shelby Sapp, she did this full conference in Miami, and people are indifferent. Like, you go on YouTube and everyone's like, oh, she's a scam. But what I do see, and women paid $15,000 to go to this thing for the weekend or whatever, and it's just a content fest.
I want to grab that tissue box right now as you're telling me.
But it's crazy to me. But their reaction videos, they're so satisfied about paying that money.
Yeah.
And they feel empowered. They feel like a strong woman. Like, obviously they're in it, right? It's woo-saw. Like they're in the trenches right now. But I'm almost like you say, it's subjective. Like, if a woman wants to pay this money to feel better about themselves or feel like they have a leader, is that wrong?
I'll tell you why I think it's wrong. If you are, lawyers speak an analogy all the time, so don't mind. But pharmaceutical industry has given us a great analogy, and biology has given us a great analogy, and that's the placebo effect.
Yes.
Okay. So if I'm Pfizer and I'm selling you this blue pill, and I say, take this blue pill. It's not the blue pill is a bad analogy. Take this purple pill, and it's going to give you hyperfocus. Okay. Take it every day at this time, with a glass of water and a banana, and measure your focus every day for a month. And you come back and say, Raees, that pill you gave me, I could read. I was like glued into these words, and I did my best creative writing, and I wasn't, doom scrolling. I was dialed in. I say, cool. It was a sugar pill.
Yeah.
We can measure the results of placebo.
Yeah.
It exists. Some of the strongest pharmaceuticals that exist are barely 5-10% above the results they yield above placebo.
That's crazy. Because it's all mental, right?
Well, my point is this. My point is the mental sort of accomplishment that you receive, or the sort of check the box that happens to you mentally, is not the question we should be asking. The question is, did you sell me what you said you were going to sell? That's the question. So if I say I have this pill that you just paid $100 for that will improve your focus, does it actually improve your focus? If the pill, we can test it and say there's nothing in it, it's a sugar pill, that's fraud.
Yeah.
The placebo happened to be a benefit that you derive from it. Do you see the difference?
Yes.
So in your analogy, in your example, like, well, there's women who are paying $15,000 to go to a seminar and it makes them feel good. That's a placebo. Okay. What did you pay the $15,000 for? Was it to increase your net revenue by $1 million a year? Was it to build some personal skill? Did you learn Korean? What did you do? Like, what did you do for that money? And it's the exchange that matters to me. So whenever somebody comes to me and says, Raees, I was duped. Like, this person was supposed to build me an Etsy store or an Amazon store, and I paid them $5,000 or $10,000, or some of these people are 80, 100 grand deep.
Crazy.
To find out it was completely nothing. I look at them and say, even if you made money, right, you still got scammed.
Yeah.
Because the person didn't deliver what they said they were going to deliver. If you go to BMW and you sign a bill of sale and you take possession of a BMW M3 and you lift up the hood and you go home and there's not turbos in there, you got scammed. Okay? It's the same damn thing. And the problem is, the reason why it's rampant is all you need is a microphone and a phone.
Yeah.
And I say this equipment should cost $10 million. That camera should be $10 million. On the true scale of good and bad and who should have it and who shouldn't, it's because it's too easy.
Yeah, that is true.
It's just too easy.
And it's literally, people are like, oh, this person's getting 20,000 views and he's a coach and he's my next door neighbor. I can do this too.
100%. And look, human behavior, who we are, it never changes. It just manifests itself.
Yeah.
This is stuff that's been going on for thousands of years. It's just a different form.
Yeah.
Okay. A woman that presents well, who is articulate, she's going to sell whatever it is that you're selling.
Yeah.
Coaching services, a car. I mean, I don't know. A woman who's educated, who's articulate, who's good looking, has a leg up.
Yeah.
Because it's appealing to some human instincts. We all know that. Nobody wants to admit that.
Yeah, like that psychologist from Dubai.
You know, this is a 5-hour special. And once again, credentials. Okay? Like, I'm going to go back to Tim, for example. Okay? Even if you only had a placebo from a guy like Tim, what you pay him for, you still received a significant benefit for, because of who he is and what he brings to the table. Okay.
Yeah.
Another example is, let's say somebody said, I'm not a lawyer, but I use ChatGPT and Claude really well. Ask me a question. And they're charging lawyer rates. That's a scam.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree with me?
Yeah.
You wouldn't say, well, look, if Raees, let's say you charge $600 an hour and this guy's charging me $600 an hour. He's not a lawyer. You're a lawyer. The work product, as far as I can tell, is the same. That's still a scam.
Yeah.
We can accept that, right?
Yeah.
People don't think this way when it comes to online businesses and when it comes to online coaches, and when it comes to giving someone money that they think is credible and is going to deliver on something until it's too late. And the scale at which this is happening, I'm telling you, I get these calls every day. It is horrifying. It's horrifying. And then people hear the numbers.
But what do you tell the clients? Because that's a tough win, right?
Yeah.
Is it worth the time?
So usually, and this is what,
like, do you ever get like Hermosi or like those types?
People who are big brands? Yeah, I have. And here's the catch, right? The catch is, are enough people injured by it that it makes sense? Because the individual who spent $5 or $10,000 will outspend that to pursue this.
Yeah.
And that's why what they do, they rather turn on their camera and talk about it. They rather tell the story, the narrative.
Yeah.
And the problem is, and you're seeing it in a different side, is the people who have the money and resources are good at suppressing those voices. the powerful. Like, oh yeah, here's a cease and desist letter. Even if it's not worth the weight, the paper it's written on, you've scared enough people to shut up that no one's talking about it.
Yeah.
That's the other problem. But you go into Reddit forums and every coach there is has something written about him or her.
Yeah.
So, some of the more scummy ones, right? That they may seem obvious, but it's not obvious.
Speaking of AI, not to switch topics because we could talk about the roaches forever. Now with AI, you can pretty much do anything. Like I could do
Yeah.
a picture of us hanging out at the Super Bowl or wherever, right? What are have all the lawyers like got together, or has there been any kind of like precedent set of what is, I wouldn't even say defamatory, but it's like it's another form of fraud because I came up with the term Photoshop is for liars. ChatGPT is definitely for liars because you can just be anything you want.
Yeah.
You can be as hot as you want. You can wear whatever you want. You can do full AI vacations. So like, what's the combat in that?
Yeah, it used to be that you had to actually pay the $100 an hour to have a fake private jet photo shoot, right?
Yeah.
Now you can just put yourself in and it looks real as hell. No, look, I mean, we deal with AI-based content, generative content, deep fakes. It's a popular issue. You can't sue ChatGPT. You sue the person. ChatGPT these AI platforms, you can't generally sue them if somebody took it and created something that's defamatory. Right?
But you would sue the creator of the content, like the person who wrote the code.
No. So let's use an example. Let's say that you found a picture of yourself online with a headline that said Nick Ritchie arrested for assault, and the picture's fake. It's 100%. It looks real.
Yeah.
Headline's completely fake. Who would you sue? Well, the publisher of that, assuming it's not like one of these Onion, Babylon Bee type things.
Yeah.
Which still is a pretty effed up thing to do to somebody. But the point is, it's false and defamatory. You're not going to sue the tools that helped create it. You're going to sue the tool who created it, the guy or the gal, right? It's the person who kicked it off. Now,
is it legal though? Like that's what my thing is. Like you can do a lot of illegal stuff. I'm assuming if you're creating that type of content, if it's falsified, if it's false content, you're basically going to ChatGPT saying, "Hey, make a picture of me owning a Lamborghini." That's fake, right?
It's no different than using Instagram to publish information that's false.
Yeah,
right.
But you're with AI, you're actually creating, like literally manufacturing the false information. With Instagram, you're disseminating.
I think, well, the AI is a tool. AI is a tool, and in the hands of the wrong person, it's a very bad tool.
Yeah.
There actually was a case, believe it or not, out of Georgia. Did you hear about this? Where this guy sued OpenAI because he was alleged to be a defendant in a criminal embezzlement case on ChatGPT, but it was false.
Yeah.
And case got thrown out on summary judgment. It was a narrow decision, but the idea was you can't hold OpenAI responsible for this because it's aggregating what's out there, and it's wrong. It could hallucinate, as it were. And so that's one of the first cases that I've heard of. This is actually a 2025 case.
But it's no different than what the dirty was. I would it's somewhat CDA, right? Like because the platform's not held liable for the author content.
You're correct. You're correct. In large part, CDA is a tremendous defense. But I would argue that if it's generative, the dirty was not generative.
Then
the dirty was a shelf, and people could put things on the shelf.
Yeah.
Generative AI is not the same. It doesn't function the same way. So it's murky. It's a little murky. There's not a lot of law on this. It'll be interesting to see what happens, how it comes out. But at the end of the day, look, I mean, OpenAI is in a ton of litigation right now.
Yeah.
With data scraping and copyright infringement, and how people are training the LLMs, and artists not being able to claim a piece of something that was generated using their work right? Which would normally be a derivative work under copyright law. It's a really interesting time right now for AI and the law and IP rights. Yeah,
Dude, it's insane.
it's insane.
And it's only gonna be in like warp speed because we're gonna have robots soon.
It's let me say this. I think there's a large swath of people in America who don't use ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, or any AI tools. I use these tools like 3-4 hours a day because I'm obsessed with increasing productivity and trying to see what the next best thing is and seeing how it can use it to help clients and leveraging and scaling. It is absolutely mind-boggling how fast the technology is moving. It is increasing exponentially. I'm talking about week over week. I'm not talking about year over year. Every day, these platforms, the LLM models
They're just learning. That's crazy.
And the price points are getting cheaper. They're getting faster. So look, take any task, whether it's content creation. I mean, I have people now who are responding to me, to my emails, using a GPT of some sort. I can tell.
Yeah, you can tell.
I'm dealing with sophisticated people who are representing themselves in court using these GPT products. I can tell. They don't always get it right, but it's a pretty good try. It's a sophomore try. Yeah. It's something that they couldn't do before. And so I spoke about AI and generative AI at a conference, at a lawyer conference. And the room was just like full of great questions by lawyers about AI. Like, how do we rely on it? And then you have bozo clown lawyers like the dinosaurs, right? Who don't understand these tools, just rely on it and get sanctioned by these judges and get their laughed out of court. Like, didn't you check it? Yeah, I asked, is this real? Is this case real? I'm like, you're a tool, man. So there's still lawyers out there that are doing that too. So it's look, some of the best advice for a content creator, I don't even care what profession you are in, is get comfortable with AI tools. Like, understand what the technology is and how it can serve your interests, because it's not a fad. It's like when lawyers, when computers first came out, I remember being told the stories. I'm not that old, but when computers first came out, moving secretaries off typewriters was like a thing. It was like, well, how do we fix it if we make a mistake? Like, how do we make sure the paper comes out? I mean, people are having these discussions now, right? Like, what if? Well, understand the tool, okay? And stop worrying about the issues. Like, we'll iron it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's AI legal issues. When they happen to celebrity, you remember Taylor Swift, right? What happened with her with the deep fake and the football team, and it takes a celebrity level thing to make lawmakers understand.
That's why I like with the Dirty Army Foundation is just making as much noise as possible.
Yeah,
because that's the only way. I don't think it's the noise creates the change, but it brings enough awareness where you have that mob mentality of people are starting to make demands now. And you see it with the Lucia stuff. It's this mother her kids have been taken away, and the Swiss courts are just not in her favor at all.
That's horrifying.
It's crazy. So, and she's lost her kids, and this guy already has like the replacement stepmom, and his goal is to try to put her in jail for defaming him. But dude, it's not America. Like, if this was in America, he would be laughed at. So when he does come to America, I just need you to be ready.
This is not hypothetical. This is going to happen. No, look, I mean, dude, it's a complicated world. The internet is international. These platforms are international. The implications of what you say in one country on one platform can have ripple effects elsewhere. You know, every content creator needs to have a lawyer who understands this world, man. It's suicide if you don't.
Yeah.
Because what you say on social media is really, it's like a deposition that you're not ready for. And it can and will be used against you. There's no Miranda rights when you turn the camera on, right?
Yeah.
But that could be played at a deposition. You're like, here, you said that. Here's the timestamp. Well, it's not how I meant it. Well, tell it to the jury, because now you're getting sued for XYZ reason. And the opposite's also true. If you have the facts, you have the story, you should tell the story. I am a proponent of First Amendment. Like, I'm not out to silence people. Defamation is illegal. It's always been unlawful. And people don't have the right to defame people. On the flip side, like what you do, you have a right to tell a story. You have the right to tell other people's story. You have the right to give them a platform. That's one of the best things about all these social media platforms is things that you thought were obscure and unheard of, like a lot of these problems and family law disputes and with kids, it's more prevalent than people ever thought.
It's crazy. I had no idea until I started doing this thing.
So what's really interesting is I get a lot of referrals from family law attorneys and disputes like, hey, this is out of my wheelhouse. This has bled into a whole nother war on the internet. And I'm not equipped to deal with it. And it's usually that. It's usually a guy who's wealthy who has decided to completely tank his former, ex-wife, tank her professional reputation, take the kids away, paint her as the abuser. Sometimes it's the other way around. It's hard to say, but this is a common fact pattern that we see.
And you see it from narcissistic men.
100%, 100%. And look, oftentimes as conspiracy theory-esque as it sounds, the guys know what they're doing from day one.
It's like pre-planned.
It's pre-planned. It's pre-planned. That the second she wants her passport and is ready to go, I got the whole game plan lined up. She's not going to even know what hit her. And we find that out in discovery, right? And I'm using the passport as just an example, but it could be taking the keys and leave. Oh, you want to leave, and then you want to write a review about me on WebMD saying that you found my 3 or 4 girlfriends in my Ashley Madison page and the hundreds of thousands of dollars that I spent on OnlyFans while I was married to you and with 3 or 4 kids. You want to tell people that? Perfect. Guess what I'm going to do? That fact pattern exists. That's a real thing. That's not made up.
Yeah.
The stories are horrifying.
It's crazy because the second a woman wants to expose a man of that nature,
yeah,
dude, it's your life's over. Her life's over.
Yeah.
And
look, I think social media ruined our ability to perceive the truth. It's a fog, because the story I hear too from the other side of the table, let's play devil's advocate, is, well, look at this beautiful woman. She could have been married to anyone. I took her in. I paid for the surgeries. I gave her a lifestyle. She didn't work a day in her life. And now she's using the kids as a weapon. Like, those things that she's saying, that's not even true. She says I hit her. Look, that's not true. Show me proof. Like, what is it? And those are hard cases where the facts don't exist. It's a he said, she said is what I'm saying. Who do you believe?
Yeah.
Cameras don't lie. Text messages don't lie. But in what situations? I mean, you've had this. You've posted video of people getting hit, or like the audio of people screaming. How much of that can you manufacture? Well, I guess if you ask Johnny Depp, he'll say Amber Heard can manufacture a bruise on her face.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's hard.
No, it's definitely hard.
And when you're the lawyer, it gets a call. I want to believe my client, and at some point I will, but I have to act neutral when they first come to me. I have to be the investigator.
Yeah.
And look, the difference between what you're doing and what I'm doing is, like, I have to be skeptical. You are skeptical too. It's in your personality to kind of pick apart and really want to know the truth. But for me, it's my profession. Like, my license is on the line, and I don't want to get to a deposition and then discover that you were the aggressor, that this is defamation, that you effed up.
Yeah.
That's too late for me.
Yeah.
I like to know before you retain my services.
Yeah. Well, you got to pick and choose your battles. Are there any cases any names that you can drop, like, that everyone would know, and that you can give some, like, obviously there's, client privilege stuff, but like just a name and just that person's a bad person? I have a ton, but I'm not a lawyer, so.
Yeah. You mean like there were adversaries?
Adversaries, and you came across stuff in Depot or like whatever, and you're like, oh my God, this guy is a monster, or this person is, not what people think.
Yeah. So I could give you a list, and what I'll do, obviously ethically, I can't get into details, but I can change the facts just enough. But I had a case once where this woman came to me and said, this guy is a monster. She literally said he's a monster. And I'm thinking, what is this? Does he eat kids? Like, what is this, Epstein? Like, what is this? And This is 5, 6 years ago. Okay. This should have been a Netflix show. And she basically told me, look, I married this guy, had 2 kids with him, and I found out he had a completely different life. Like he had a separate life outside of me and our household. And I confided in his brother, and I said, like, you need to talk to this guy, because if I say anything, he'll kill me. Like he'll literally kill me. And the brother said to her, my brother would never do that. He's a loving guy. He's made mistakes. And it played with her like mental health, because the brother went and told his brother, or Bryce, was like, hey, this chick's coming for you. He said it that way. And so he started preparing from a mile away. Like, this is what I'm going to do. So I saw text messages of the hookers, that he was texting with, that he was saying, I'm flying to this conference. I'm doing this. He's an extremely wealthy surgeon. And I saw, the photographs. I saw everything. I saw the proof I needed to know that this guy was living the double life, that he was the Playboy lifestyle, and he's living a different life with his wife at home. And when she wanted to get out of it, he completely turned on her and threatened her life and said, well, I will kill you. And the guy ended up going to prison, right? He lost his DEA license. He couldn't prescribe drugs. There was usually, when people have like problems in their life, it manifests in more than one way.
Yeah.
Very few people are squeaky clean and they have this one big thing. So it turns out this guy was also, he was hooking up with patients, and he was abusing narcotics. Like, he was giving them narcotics he shouldn't have been giving them. And as a cosmetic surgeon, and his DEA license got pulled at some point. But the point is, you hear it, it sounds fairy tale. And I always tell clients, you have to bring receipts, because you went through a trial, you had to lose and go to a higher court. You got to have the receipts. Yeah. It's not just having the law on your side. You got to prove your case. We live in a system where even in the civil case, it's a preponderance of the evidence. You got to show me a 51% probability at least that your story is believable. Because even if you're telling the truth, if I can't tell it to a jury, I can't take your case that far.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's scary, man. And we're in a time where things can get deleted fast. Right. So people ask me this, well, Raees, does anything ever disappear? It's a theoretical question.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get into forensics, some of these forensic guys are crazy. They'll recover anything. I know people actually.
We need them. So
there's a guy in town. I won't name drop him. Not in this town, but in Phoenix, where he's the guy the FBI calls when they need stuff recovered.
Sick.
This guy does crazy stuff. He will recover bytes of data from devices, right? And piece together the puzzle. So even if you've tried to sort of destroy, you threw the pie away, there might be a little bit of frosting on the counter, and he'll find it. And you're like, that's enough of a forensic footprint for me to tell a jury that this existed here. So, I mean, we live at a time where everything is on these guys. I mean, you get access to this even when you wipe devices. It's not as gone as people think, man. It's not. Which is another conversation, because I also tell people, privacy is valued, man. That you should value your privacy as much as we live in a voyeuristic lifestyle nowadays. Look, face it, when you're watching people's lives all day, you're a voyeur.
Yeah, totally.
You're a voyeur.
Yeah.
It's different. It's a different type of voyeurism. But my point is, I also have clients, again, CEOs, entrepreneurs, etc., who are like, you know what? I like doing this, but I do not want XYZ things becoming public. How do I protect myself?
Yeah.
You came to the right place. Let's talk about the things you shouldn't do. I've got a list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's how you communicate it. Here are platforms that you can use where it's safe. There was a time when people used to sit down and have coffee and have these conversations. You can't have coffee with people that live across the country or in another world, than you as easily, right? So things have to be put into writing sometimes, or you have to pick up a phone and say some things that you're not so comfortable with, not knowing who's listening on the other side.
Yeah.
And so as much as we're in a time where it's good to be seen and heard, the opposite's equally true, is you need to really be careful what you say. I had a dinner with a group of lawyers not too long ago. We were talking about just not case specific stuff, but like when lawyers get put into a group chat, it's like the lawyer's worst nightmare, because it might be just friends, and then it turns into like free legal advice.
Yeah.
And then the lines of whether there's attorney-client privilege get blurry, and if there's a lawsuit, that could get produced.
Oh, you probably remove yourself from those chats now.
Yeah, I do. Depending on what it is. Like I have obviously a chat with like my family and my friends and like the
The boys.
mess around. But yeah, I mean like the locker room talk, as they say.
Dude,
That stuff can get you in trouble.
It's done. It's done.
The one wrong text message, man.
You know what's crazy? Because like kids are getting in trouble because they're just in the groups.
Yeah.
They're not responding.
That's right.
One kid says something wrong.
That's right.
Whoever's in that group, they're all getting expelled.
That's right. And here's that's right. Yeah, it gets produced to the school. They look at it. Everyone gets disciplined.
Yep.
Dude, I had a crazy. This came to mind. I had a crazy case where, speaking of things you should do with your phone and not do with your phone. This 15-year-old kid was chatting with the 17-year-old guy. So it was a 15-year-old girl, 17-year-old guy. And they're in different states, whatever states they were in. And they're texting, and text gets heavier, and now they're sexting each other. Well, the boy's mom, super strict Christian family, finds the phone, sees the texts. He wasn't supposed to have a phone to begin with. And she calls the police saying, you know, my son's a minor and that girl's a minor too. And I want to get these people in trouble. And it turns out that in his state, he can actually get the kid can get in trouble for child pornography.
What?
Because he was of an age of a majority, but the girl was not. So the fact that he had 15-year-old girls' pictures on his phone and he was 16 or 17, whatever the age was child pornography. And it turned into, and then it ended up getting leaked online. Not the images, but what happened. Because a police report was filed. It was a mess. The parents, and fortunately at least the client that called me was level-headed, and we were able to kind of clean everything up without going through litigation. But you talk about a mess.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a mess. It's a dangerous place, man. I'm telling you, like, you don't know what the underbelly of the internet, I'll say it this way, is something that I think a lot of people don't really understand. It's a lot worse than what people think. I think.
No, dude, I think it's really bad.
Yeah.
It's the worst ever. I think honestly, like our problem isn't social media. I think our problem is speed. And we're constantly seeing that our attention span's getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So,
and judgment's getting faster.
Yeah. And we're getting to a place where the brain rot is not slowing us down. It's like speeding our mind. We need that instant dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Like worse than drugs. I would say, like, if you can't do a video and it's not hitting in the first 5 seconds, people are scrolling. They're gone.
That's right.
So,
well, that's why they appeal to the human instincts and emotions. They show half-naked pictures.
Yeah.
So that you can stop and you could be selling Doritos. It doesn't matter.
But that's the crazy part, because now when I started what I did, people were so scared of the dirty because they felt like they were losing their privacy. Now the world is completely flipped, where if you're a private person, you're a freaking weirdo.
Yeah.
You know? So sometimes I get really like, I get not depressed, but I get sad. Like, oh, is it my fault? You know, because it churned. Like literally people started submitting themselves to the dirty because they wanted the attention.
Right.
They wanted to feel popular. Someone would get submitted and their life would be like, oh my God, this is the worst ever. But then they get submitted again and they started becoming Paris Hilton. Right. So it literally, the world just flipped. And now it's like, if you don't get the attention, who are you as a person?
Who are you? Yeah. Yeah.
It's so sad.
It's, well, I mean, and there's been a lot of litigation on social media companies engineering algorithms to make them addictive, meaning they knew it's not a byproduct. It was actually a goal.
Yeah.
That's the killer part, which is these platforms understood the psychology, and they use that to their advantage to make sure you get hooked in because it's dollars.
Yeah.
You know,
Dude, it's cigarettes.
and it's coming out in discovery. And you have people who are saying, whether it was at Meta or TikTok, that, hey, like, we know this is happening and we don't care.
Yeah.
And nobody's responding to that email, you know?
Of course not.
So it's, you know, so what's the answer? You know, I don't know what the answer is. I think there's going to be a change in human behavior. Human behavior changes very slowly. Over time, there'll have to be some breakthrough. Something will happen.
I'm going to tell you, I predict within 3 years that everyone's going to have their second person, which is going to be their Optimus, their robot, who digitally takes pictures of your life, live streams your life. It's like basically your assistant following you.
Yeah.
Acts as your all-in-one component, whether it's ChatGPT, cleaning, getting dates for you, working for you. But this person is going to be live streaming your life. That's the next thing.
Interesting. Yeah, and I thought what we were going to say was you'll have a separate persona. Like it'll be understood that this is like your avatar on Instagram. That's
People won't do it because their ego to be better than the next person is always going to trump everything. Like I have to be better than my neighbor.
Yeah,
you know, like why would I want to be Superman? Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It's scary. I mean, look, you're hearing about Meta glasses, you know, being used everywhere in every corner of every big city, you know, and look, when I travel, I find them convenient because it's easier than walking around. Like if I'm walking onto,
you're not giving anyone else permission to be in your eyes.
Correct. Yeah. I usually don't use it to film people is my point, right? Like if I'm traveling to an ancient historical site or if I've amazing shot of the beach, I'm going to put it on and look at the water.
I know, but do you think 100% of the people buying those glasses are doing that?
100% not. I think there's more nefarious reasons for that.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the first thing, humans are interesting, man. The first thing, and it was dudes, did when they got those goggles is they covered up the light that turns on so they could go in incognito. Because the Ray-Ban Meta glasses, specifically, when they're turned on, and recording, there's a light that flickers.
Yeah.
They buy these black stickers and color it in with permanent marker because they didn't want people to know they were recording.
Yeah.
Okay. The first thing that happened, why are you doing that incognito? What?
Well, everyone knows why.
Everyone knows why. And it's for nefarious reasons.
Yes.
And that's my point. I was talking to this audiovisual engineer once, this is like 10 years ago, and he said, dude, do you know pornography single-handedly it stimulated audio-visual technology to get better and better, like the cameras and the mics. I mean, just think about that. That industry pushed in a similar vein, voyeurism, because what we're talking about, and the idea of I can record people sort of in their natural habitat without them knowing is dictating what people do with these Meta glasses. Because this is too obvious now.
Oh, dude.
This is too obvious.
Way too
This is too obvious. Even in the gym. That's, you know, it's a weird time. It's a weird time.
It's going to get weirder.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, dude, for coming. I appreciate you.
This is great.
And dude, we're going to be doing more as we start taking down these people. So
100%.
Just be ready for everybody, Dirty Army, be ready for the play-by-plays because we got some work to do.
Keep up the good work though, man. You've done a marvelous job of being the voice of the voiceless and the powerless. It's a tough.
Well, it's refreshing to have a man to sit next to and talk about these things because a lot of the men are running from all this stuff.
Yeah, nobody wants to be the messenger. Remember, we talked about this.
Yeah.
Everyone's afraid they're going to get their head chopped off and put on a stake. So, you know, we're glad we have you to chop your head off a few times for everybody else.
Oh, dude. Okay, love you, bro. Avengers for life.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's rock it. Thank you, guys. Thank you, family. Dirty Army strong.